There is a certain kind of game people call cozy, but actually defining what makes a game cozy is hard to explain, because it's not necessarily a genre, but more of just a feeling that almost any kind of game can give you, if it's designed in the right way. So if cozy games aren't defined by any sort of mechanics, then how would a developer go about making one? Well, today that's what I'm here to try and answer. Because even though there isn't any singular trait that makes a game cozy, there are for sure a lot of things you can do to make a game feel safer, calmer, and more comfortable to exist in. So we are going to go over all of those characteristics, give some examples of games that do it great, and in the end hopefully have a pretty complete guide on what makes the perfect cozy video game. So what actually is a cozy game? It's genuinely a hard question to answer, or at least to answer in a way that everyone agrees on. A couple months ago, I made this video talking about Stardew Valley, and how a large number of people will call it the definitive cozy game, but I usually play it more like a optimization farming sim. Anyways, the top comment on that video was, "To be fair, Eric has made it clear I never call Stardew a cozy game. He simply calls it an RPG, which, if nothing else, proves that it is a very difficult genre to define if even what I thought was the most notable cozy game isn't actually a cozy game." So on one hand, you have your Animal Crossings and Stardew Valleys, games that to at least some degree are designed to be cozy. But on the other hand, you have your Skyrims, Zeldas, Minecrafts, games that definitely aren't designed to be cozy, but many people will tell you are their favorite cozy games. So what's the similarities here? Well, I've put the core design of cozy games into three main pillars: safety, style, and escape. At its core, a cozy game usually makes the player feel safe. Not safe as in nothing bad ever happens and you will never fail and never die, but more safe as in you're not going to be punished for playing the wrong way. The game should trust the player and give them the freedom to play how they want to, with mistakes feeling recoverable rather than devastating. Second is style. Cozy games prioritize strong visual style over cutting-edge realism. That includes visuals, music, sound design, UI, character design, dialogue, everything that contributes to how the game feels moment to moment. And lastly, escape. This is probably the most difficult one to nail down, but it's what allows cozy games to give you a break from the real world. Cozy is defined as giving a feeling of comfort, warmth, and relaxation. And this pillar is all about achieving those things. This can be through routine, familiarity, or simply letting you exist in a different world for a little while. So every cozy game can approach these pillars in different ways, and focus more heavily on some than others. But I do think every game that gets called cozy hits all of these to at least some degree. With those pillars in mind, let's begin with safety. This pillar really boils down to how the game treats failure. I think it's very important to note that just because a game is cozy, that doesn't mean it has to be easy. While some people might enjoy that, I think to keep a game engaging, there does need to be some sort of challenge. And it's in how that challenge is balanced where a game can be cozy. Pretty much, failure isn't a big deal. One of the best ways to create a sense of security is to make failure feel recoverable. You should never feel like you made a mistake that requires you to reload a save, or even restart the game or run entirely. The game should, of course, acknowledge the mistake, apply some sort of consequence, and then let you keep moving on. A pretty great example of this would be, of course, Stardew Valley. And don't worry, I'll have some more unique examples, I promise. I cannot make this another video just about Stardew. When you pass out at 2 AM or in the mines, the game doesn't reset your day or delete your progress. Instead, it applies a small money penalty based on your total amount of money, and maybe removes a few items. The loss exists, but it's predictable, and never fatal to your save. You can even buy back some of the lost items if you got really unlucky. You learn to manage your time better, but the game never makes you feel punished for learning slowly. Take Mario Odyssey, a game that I consider pretty cozy for the most part. Falling off a level doesn't restart it, you lose a few coins and respawn seconds later. The game encourages experimentation by making your mistakes cost basically nothing. The challenge comes more with actually managing to complete the platforming section. Basically, failure should almost act as a new opportunity for the player, like an interesting detour that definitely wasn't planned, but just gives something more to do without taking away from the overall goal. But recoverability alone can be enhanced by actually teaching players with their failure. A great example of this is Slime Rancher. Personally a top 3 cozy game for me, I think. You can lose slimes and mess up plort economies, but the game never hard resets your progress. These mistakes do cost time and efficiency, but they allow you to learn optimal setups and gameplay mechanics naturally through trial and error. And if I'm being honest, teaching through failure is pretty much a universal good game design indicator. It's great for cozy games, but also great for all sorts of other games too. Either way, both of these are important to build trust with the game. Once you trust that you're allowed to make mistakes and learn from them, you as a player can start experimenting and engaging with the game emotionally rather than mechanically. And that's exactly when the game starts to feel cozy. Once the fear of failure is gone, you can play more with curiosity, and that's a lot more interesting and relaxing to play with. And that now takes us to the second pillar, style. As I mentioned before, when I talk about style, that means a lot more than just graphics. Pixel art or low poly graphics do not make a game cozy, although it is hard to argue that they don't somewhat help. Style is about how everything in the game looks, feels, and sounds. A cozy game should feel inviting over anything else. Let's start with audio. Most importantly, music. Cozy games tend to use music that loops naturally and doesn't get annoying after you've heard it a million times. Tracks are memorable, but they don't overstay their welcome. Furthermore, sound effects are soft, and most importantly to me at least, satisfying. Think of some of the most memorable and nostalgic game soundtracks of all time. Minecraft, Animal Crossing, even Plants vs. Zombies. There's a reason I and so many other YouTubers use these songs as background music. Everyone just loves them. You can listen to them countless times during the game and not get bored. And sound effects matter just as much. All the games I previously mentioned have great, memorable sounds, but even something like Powerwash Simulator is perfect. It's built around satisfaction through slow progress, and the steady sound of water and slight audio cue when you finish a section really makes this boring task that much cozier. But something that can also work great for cozy audio design is just silence, or ambience as well. Sometimes stepping back and just letting the player experience the world and the sounds within it really let you get comfortable and almost feel like you're out in nature, which for a lot of people, including myself, is very relaxing. Games like Firewatch and Breath of the Wild do a great job of this. Both of these games do have some great soundtracks that really enhance the story in certain moments, but when you're just walking through the woods in Firewatch with the great visuals, sound of your footsteps, maybe some wind or birds in the distance, it's perfect. As a Canadian, I love the Rocky Mountains and the escapism traveling to them gives me, and Firewatch is genuinely the only video game that's captured a little bit of that feeling for me. Breath of the Wild uses some simple instrumental music in the background alongside great sound effects to give a very similar effect, creating a living but not overwhelming open world. How about visual style in cozy games? A lot of cozy games prioritize clarity and personality over realism, and I think this fits great with what cozy games are trying to do. They aren't trying to impress you with the detail of all the textures, they're just trying to make you comfortable in their worlds. Things like readable UI, soft color palettes, and overall just pleasing and unique art styles go a long way to making a game feel cozy. Sticking with Zelda games, of which to me at least, with some exceptions, are very cozy. You can look at titles like Skyward Sword or the Link's Awakening remake and see how their entire visual style enhances this. The diorama / toy-like look of Link's Awakening is just so perfect for the vibes of that game. It immediately is welcoming, and this is only further enhanced by the soft yellows of the UI and rounded design of all the items and menus. Skyward Sword has a very similar approach, with a strong emphasis on this almost paint-like look to it. There's visible brush strokes, soft edges, and the way light and color are used to give this almost unfinished sketch-like look up close create a beautiful image from the distance. Apart from just audio and visuals, style can contribute to a bunch of other things. And honestly, you people watching can probably come up with more examples than me. I think the characters and dialogue between them and you is a very important one. Dialogue that feels relaxed and human over anything else can really make you feel like you belong in this game world, and goes a long way to make it feel cozier. Donut County is one of my favorite cozy games, and a large part of that is due to the just really chill and hilarious writing. It just feels like an actual funny conversation you'd hear between friends, and I love that. Same goes for a game like Night in the Woods, which definitely takes itself more seriously at some points, but in the more cheery explorative sections has some really great dialogue to find. Not to mention great art style and a great soundtrack, just like the other things in this section. So, all of these things together, and probably a bunch of more stylistic choices that I'm not even thinking of, can really enhance the coziness of a game. If safety is what intrigues you at the beginning and lets you relax, then style is what makes you stay. And once a game feels safe and looks inviting, it can do the most important thing a cozy game can: give you an escape. Obviously, escape doesn't mean avoiding reality entirely. It's more about giving the player a space where time slows down, pressure fades, and the outside world just feels a little bit farther away. And the most important part of that is control. There are a lot of ways games can do this. The first of which is quite simply letting the player set the speed at which they play. There shouldn't be a constant sense of urgency. You shouldn't be rushing from objective to objective, and you're not punished for just stopping and honestly doing nothing for a while. The world should kind of progress as you do. This can be done with things like optional objectives instead of forced ones. Maybe you have the overall goal from the very beginning: defeat Calamity Ganon, restore the community center, escape the planet. But this is kind of just a motivator in the back of your mind at most times. You're playing just for the sake of playing. You're experiencing and escaping to this virtual world. One of the most underrated aspects of cozy game design is how well it supports short play sessions. Cozy games understand that their players might only have a few minutes to play every day, mainly because they are crafted with a more casual gaming audience in mind. So they design progress in small, meaningful chunks. This might seem to clash with the last point, but if you don't have the time to fully immerse yourself in the world every time you play, you can still accomplish something during every session. And you can see this in so many of the games I've mentioned thus far. Stardew Valley has days that take about 15 minutes each, plenty of time to do tons of important tasks. Plants vs. Zombies is split into short levels, same goes for Donut County. Pikmin also follows the each level is a day form of progression. Even a game like the Talos Principle, which is honestly a pretty odd cozy game, is great to just pick up and beat a puzzle or two and then continue along with your day. And this is very important because escape shouldn't feel like a commitment. It should feel accessible to everyone, even those who only have a short amount of time to play each day. Yet another thing cozy games do exceptionally well is make progress visual instead of purely numerical. This fits in pretty well with the style pillar as well, but basically instead of watching stats go up, you watch the world change. You can build something yourself, exactly how you like it, really making the game feel more like home. You guys might be mad at me for this one, but I have personally never played The Sims, but I've seen so many people call it cozy, and it's literally built around this entire concept, I think. I think that's like all you do in this game. You create a house, an entire family, exactly how you like it. And this is seen in most cozy games that have any sort of crafting and survival mechanics, like Minecraft, Stardew Valley, Valheim, even Subnautica. Personalization goes a long way in making a cozy game. And I could once again go on and on about what cozy games do to offer you an escape. They let you be kind to NPCs, to the world as a whole. And stuff like this, and all the other things I mentioned, create a rare experience, where your time, emotions, and energy are respected as a player. Cozy games don't demand anything from you. They let you play them how you want, and for as long as you want. And this offers an escape that not many video games can. So, at the very beginning of this video, I asked, what is a cozy game? And I hope that I've managed to answer that question pretty well. When I think about the perfect cozy game, I don't think about a specific art style, genre, or list of mechanics. I think about how a game makes me feel, and how it treats me when I'm playing it. At its best, a cozy game is built on the 3 pillars we talked about today. Safety, where failure is recoverable and mistakes are part of learning, not something to be afraid of. Style, where audio, visuals, writing, and tone work together to make the world feel inviting and comfortable to exist in. And finally, escape, where the game respects your time, lets you set the pace, and gives you space to simply be present. And this is where a lot of games that want to be cozy tend to fail. It's a relatively new concept in the game world, or at least a much more popular one now that gaming has such a larger market, but mistakes like too much grind, or stressful real-time systems, or overly complex systems can really bring a possibly great cozy experience down a lot. Just the most important thing to keep in mind is that cozy is not the same as slow. So, when a game avoids all these things and gets all the main pillars right, that's when you get the perfect cozy game. You stop worrying about optimal play, fearing mistakes, and rushing towards an ending. Instead, you settle in and explore, experiment, and connect, not because the game is forcing you to, but because it feels good to do so. That's what cozy games offer at their best, and I hope this video has done a good job of explaining why you like cozy games. There's lots of games I maybe mentioned in here that you definitely don't consider cozy, and I'm sure there's games you think are cozy that I definitely wouldn't agree with you on. So let me know your favorite cozy game down in the comments. I'm really interested to see what people think. But at the end of the day, cozy is pretty subjective. It's kind of up to you and what you feel when you're playing the game. Despite what I said in this video, I think most games can be cozy to anyone, even if that's not what it's aiming for. Either way, thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed, I'd appreciate a like or even a subscribe if you want to see more videos. I would recommend checking out that Stardew Valley video if you're interested. I'll link it somewhere on the screen here. It's a little bit different from this one, but it's still a good watch. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.